Halloween in the 1990s was simply the coolest time ever. From epic costumes to iconic TV specials, the 90s had it all. Here are 6 reasons why. Halloween costumes in the 90s were legendary. They reflect the pop culture trends and icons that defined the decade. Back then, kids and adults took inspiration from various sources, from Saturday morning cartoons to blockbuster movies, video games, and even music icons. The variety and creativity of costumes were off the charts, and there was a certain charm in both store-bought and homemade outfits that made each costume feel unique. Let's look at some of the types of costumes. Many kids' go-to costumes were the classic store-bought ones, often featuring characters from famous TV shows and movies like Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Batman, and Disney characters such as Aladdin and The Little Mermaid. These costumes often included a plastic mask with a thin elastic band and a vinyl jumpsuit printed with the character's outfit. While these might not have been the most comfortable or breathable, they were iconic, and you could find them in nearly every department store during the Halloween season. This is where they differ from homemade costumes. Homemade costumes were a whole different level of cool. If your parents were crafty or you had older siblings who loved DIY projects, you could end up with a totally unique and detailed costume. Kids would transform into anything from a classic ghost using a white sheet to homemade robots built from cardboard boxes and tinfoil. A certain pride came with showing off a DIY costume because it was one of a kind, and parents often got in on the fun, helping to make sure every detail was just right. The 90s saw the rise of many cultural phenomena that made their way into Halloween costumes. Popular TV shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, The X-Files, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer became inspirations for costumes, as did iconic video game characters like Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario. Even musicians like Spice Girls and Michael Jackson became popular choices for Halloween costumes. It was a time when you could express your love for a TV show, movie, or band by dressing up as your favorite character or artist. Schools and local communities often hosted costume parades and competitions where kids could showcase their costumes and compete for prizes. These events made Halloween feel like more than just a one-night celebration. It was a social experience. Winning a Best Costume Award was a big deal, and kids would sometimes plan their costumes for weeks just to make sure they stood out. The fun was in the creativity and excitement of becoming your favorite character for one magical night. Because what was Halloween in the 90s without the TV specials? The 90s were a golden age for Halloween-themed television, with networks like Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, Fox, and ABC airing unforgettable Halloween specials and episodes. These shows and episodes weren't just entertainment. They became cultural events that added to the excitement of the Halloween season. Whether it was cartoons, sitcoms, or live-action shows, there was always something spooky on TV to get you in the Halloween spirit. In the 90s, Halloween specials were highly anticipated, with networks airing themed episodes in the weeks leading up to Halloween. Some of these episodes became legendary and are still considered classics today. For example, The Simpsons' annual Treehouse of Horror episodes delivered a mix of humor and horror that appealed to both kids and adults. Based on R.L. Stine's popular book series, Goosebumps brought scary stories to life on TV. The Haunted Mask became a staple for Halloween viewing. Animated shows of the 90s also embraced the Halloween spirit. Shows like Rugrats, Hey Arnold, The Magic School Bus, and Scooby-Doo produced memorable Halloween episodes that captivated young audiences. Even shows like The Real Ghostbusters and Beetlejuice, inspired by films, kept the spooky atmosphere alive with Halloween-themed episodes, regularly giving kids their fill of ghouls and ghosts. Annual Halloween TV events like ABC Family's 13 Nights of Halloween, where the network showed a mix of classic Halloween movies, were common. Networks like Disney Channel joined in with their Hauntoberfest, featuring Halloween movies such as Halloween Town, and marathons of spooky episodes from So Weird and Even Stevens. Just as TV specials were special, Halloween movies were memorable in the 90s. Halloween in the 90s wasn't complete without a lineup of spooky movies that defined the holiday for an entire generation. These films became more than just seasonal favorites. They became cultural touchstones that shaped how 90s kids experienced Halloween. The blend of family-friendly frights, iconic characters, and catchy soundtracks made 90s Halloween movies unforgettable and a crucial part of the season's nostalgia. Two movies that immediately come to mind when thinking of 90s Halloween are Hocus Pocus and The Nightmare Before Christmas. These films were released in the same year and quickly became Halloween staples, airing on TV networks every October. Disney Channel played a significant role in shaping Halloween entertainment for 90s kids. Its original movies like Halloween Town and Under Wraps aired repeatedly during October, adding to the seasonal excitement. While some 90s Halloween movies leaned toward family-friendly entertainment, shows like Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark delivered actual frights to those who craved something scarier. The 90s also saw the rise of themed movie marathons and programming blocks that revolved around Halloween. Networks like ABC Family's 13 Nights of Halloween would air a lineup of spooky films in the days leading up to October 31st. Creating a festive atmosphere that lasted for weeks. Disney Channel's Hauntoberfest brought families together with nightly movies and specials. Nickelodeon's Nick or Treat offered themed episodes from popular shows and short, spooky segments between programs. These movie marathons became a ritual for many 90s kids, turning the TV into a source of seasonal magic. The repetition of these films each year solidified their status as Halloween classics, and they became part of the holidays' traditions. While 90s Halloween movies played a significant role in shaping pop culture, kids looked forward more to going on trick-or-treating adventures. In the 90s, trick-or-treating was a major event that often felt like a neighborhood-wide celebration. Kids would roam the streets in packs, clutching their candy bags while going door to door for treats. The atmosphere was electric, with decorations like jack-o'-lanterns, cobwebs, and spooky sound effects setting the mood. Many neighborhoods went all out with decorations, from haunted front yards to houses that played creepy soundtracks. Some families even set up mini haunted houses in their garages to scare and entertain visitors. The sense of community was strong, and people of all ages participated in the fun. While many kids had plastic pumpkin buckets, some chose pillowcases as candy bags. This wasn't just a fashion statement, but a strategy to get as much candy as possible. Candy craze stands on the same ground as trick-or-treating regarding fun things about Halloween. Candy was the heartbeat of 90s Halloween. While today's candy choices may seem endless, the 90s had some iconic treats that made the holiday special. Classics like Warheads, Airheads, Ring Pops, and Baby Bottle Pops were trick-or-treat bag staples. The sour craze was big back then, with kids daring each other to eat the most intense Warheads. And who could forget Fun Dip or Push Pops, which were tasty and doubled as toys? These candies weren't just about flavor, they were experiences. You hit the jackpot if you found a house that handed out full-sized candy bars. It was almost legendary. Kids would share tips on which streets had the best candy hauls. But Halloween would not feel like a festivity if not for the decorations and crafts. Halloween in the 90s had a distinct DIY vibe, where families took pride in creating decorations and crafts. Instead of relying solely on store-bought decor, people often used a mix of homemade and purchased items to give their homes a personal spooky touch. Paper cutouts of bats, ghosts, and witches were typical DIY decorations that kids would help make. Carving pumpkins was another essential activity, with families competing to create the scariest or funniest jack-o'-lanterns. Glow sticks, cotton cobwebs, and construction paper became staple items for transforming a house into a haunted lair. Schools often got in on the action, with kids making Halloween crafts like popsicle stick skeletons, paper plate masks, or egg carton spiders. These projects added to the festive spirit. Kids proudly displayed their creations at home. The effort to make DIY decorations gave Halloween a special touch that made each celebration unique. It wasn't about having the most expensive props. It was about the fun of creating something spooky together. Another thing that made it more fun, especially for teenagers, was the parties. In the 90s, Halloween parties and school events were central to the celebration, offering a fun mix of costumes, games, and activities that brought friends and classmates together. Whether it was a classroom party, a community center event, or a friend's house, These gatherings made Halloween feel like a season-long celebration. Classroom parties featured costume parades, pumpkin decorating, and games like bobbing for apples or pin the tail on the black cat. Teachers often embraced the festivities, decorating classrooms with paper bats and ghosts, and organizing contests for the best costumes. Kids would gather at friends' houses for Halloween parties and eat spooky-themed snacks like witch's brew punch or gummy worm cupcakes. Community centers and local clubs would also host events, often featuring haunted mazes, costume contests, and face painting. Many schools also held costume parades, where students would walk in a line to show off their costumes to the whole school. This added a sense of excitement and was a chance for kids to display their creativity. 90s Halloween parties and events were all about fun and community, creating an environment where the holiday spirit was shared and celebrated in various ways. There is no single doubt that Halloween in the 90s was more than just costumes and candy. It was an entire experience filled with nostalgia, creativity, and a little bit of spooky magic. Which of these events do you remember most vividly? Let's hear it in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and punch the subscribe button for more nostalgic content like this. You should also remember to turn on the notification button to avoid missing future videos. Happy hunting!